Once again, good night, everybody. Good evening, everybody. My name is Alexander Platunov, and I'm happy to welcome everybody who loves theater and who wants to join us from different parts of the planet. Today, on the 22nd of September 2022, and this is already the second day of our St. Petersburg theater seasons. This is an online festival. We broadcast abroad, and this is a window abroad. So this is already for the third time St. Petersburg theater seasons are available for everybody on the territory of our country, but also in China through Weibo and Odoo, through accounts in China and Beijing. It is possible due to our constant cooperation with Russian companies. The social networks provide our network and support our work. So I want to tell you that by the results of the first day, the broadcasting of the first day had more than 100,000 visitors. So organizers of the festival, Neva-Art and Neva Project, are very thankful and grateful to our sponsors, Channel St. Petersburg, Radio Where to Go channel, and also the social network in contact for promotion of our broadcasting. Due to their help, more and more people get to know about festival, and they can get connected and watch
Встречайте
us.
приложение ВК-клипы. Удобный видеоредактор, уникальные маски и эффекты и стильные фильтры для обработки. Еще быстрее, проще, вертикальнее. Теперь в отдельном приложении ВК-клипы. Место встречи талантов.
And now you can focus your camera on the QR code, which you can see on our screen, and join us and watch together with us our performances online. I want to remind you that for our foreign viewers, the English language version you can find on the English language site. In order to see, to watch it, you can choose the English version of the site. And also the Russian version you can see in contact. Okay, let us begin. Let us start. We've already seen the performance of St. Petersburg Theatre Masterskaya workshop, which is called the Love Dreams or Marriage of Balzaminov. And here we have the actors who play the main roles: Maxim Studinovsky and Polina Vorobyova. Good evening. Before we start talking today, I just want us to watch a little video. If I were a Tsar, I would issue a law obliging rich people to marry poor and poor people to marry rich. Those who do not follow my law are subject to death penalty. I'm not sure if these words of Balzaminov or something else caused the ban of the play, but in 1861 censorship committee banned one of the most innocent Ostrovsky's play Marriage of Balzaminov. Critics of that time lashed out at his play, but Ostrovsky immediately started an opposite campaign to support it. The literature committee gave up. So finally this play was approved for direction on stage. The first role of Balzaminov was played by the prominent Russian actor from Alexandrinsky Theatre, Alexander Martynov, who remained busy in the first two parts of the trilogy. But at the age of 60, Martynov died in Ostrovsky's arms, so Pavel Vasilyev, another notable artist, played Balzaminov in the final part of the trilogy, and critic used to say that he played defiantly and brightly the very essence of Balzaminov's infantility. Theatre and literature critics wrote that his acting showed banality of human egoism. Since that time, this play was going on stages all over Russia. The play was directed in many theatres during different times, over and over again, and soon became the hit of the repertoire theatres and even musicals. The first Balzaminov from St. Petersburg was a remarkable actor of Alexandrinsky Theatre, Alexander Martynov. Though at the age of 60, Martynov died in Ostrovsky arms, so another actor, Pavel, had to substitute Martynov. He was a psychologist, and according to Dostoevsky, Martynov, by his manner of acting, underlined an infancy of Balzaminov's life. All critics said he portrayed banality of human egoism. Soon after that, this play was going on many stages, and there was not a theatre that they wouldn't have this play staged, which is very meaningful for us today because we plan to celebrate Ostrovsky's 200th anniversary. I think many more Balzaminovs are going to appear on the Russian stage. Balzaminov's Marriage had a lucky period with its production of 1964 at the Mosfilm studio, when Russian director Konstantin Voinov made his film basing on the play with a wonderful cast of actors: Vitsyn, Shagalova, Gurchenko, Prokhorenko. Every artist's name is unforgettable. Vitsyn was 47 when he played a 20-year-old character. That is why there was a joke on a set that they were playing a marriage of an embalmed man, which also had sense, meaning that he was playing an embalmed stupidity, such a feature which does not change with age. Let us watch some piece of this movie.
Пожалуйте ручку поцеловать.
Нате. Подвиньтесь поближе. Я вас так. Вы любите меня. Я вас буду.
Покорнейше. Вас благодарю-с.
Contemporary version of Balzaminov's adventures appeared on the stage of St. Petersburg Theatre Masterskaya workshop in production of Grigory Kozlov. It is not for the first time when Grigory Kozlov undertakes Ostrovsky. It was him who made The Forest in on Litany Theatre, which received the State Prize of Russia award. So, attention please, this is the Balzaminov's marriage performance, the Kozlov production of the Masterskaya Theatre. I want to remind to our spectators that you can leave your questions in the comments in contact, and we are going to ask these questions to our guests. So we have here also young theatre goers and lovers of drama who are going to ask questions to young actors. So let's begin. As if I was taken by the current, that Maxim really looks like Vitsyn. I never noticed that before. So the first question to everybody is that our program of festival is made of classical pieces mostly. So what is the actor's approach to the role when we speak about the widely known character? When we speak about modern plays, it's easy, but when you know that before you there were so many actors playing this role, and together with that they were very prominent, very notable actors. When you learned about this role that you're going to play it, and I should say that this performance appeared when you were students of the fourth course. Maybe did you try to find out something about your predecessors? So Polina Vorobyova had to compete with Nonna Mordukova. Yes, yes. Did you see the movie before? Of course I saw. So, well, so many ideas I've got in my head. Well, first of all, Nonna Mordukova is a great actress, and even now, looking at the fragment, it's really so touching. There's so much of feeling in it. Well, when I play Belatilova, what I think about is about the connection, especially with women sitting in the hall, that women are always waiting for love. They are always waiting. I think yes. I think that the women's nature is always waiting for love. And that's why when I think about Belatilova, well, weren't you afraid? Weren't you scared of this role? Of course I was a little bit, but as Pyotr Fomenko asked, everything was already in the theater. He said, yes, everything had already happened in the theater, but there were no you in the theater. Like our beloved master says, here and now. We are all have feelings. The most important thing is the sincere feelings, to develop and to have the audience have also the sincerest feelings. Maxim, what about you? There was Vitsyn before you. Was it trembling feeling? I cannot say that I've got a feeling of a competition. Most possible in this respect, I should take the material which has been already worked through and just to make an alliance with this material. And here I have an opportunity to add things, and I have a chance to discover new things for myself and for the audience. Those things which from the first sight seem to be very simple and like spoken already. But I can tell you that I had an experience before Balzaminov over the image when I was a student of the third course, when I really was scared to go to the stage and play the Duke Mishkin in Idiot. We've got a performance which is called Return. This is the first part of the novel. When we live through the novel, we play just several chapters from Dostoevsky novel. The first idea for myself was, if I have a right to go to the stage and take upon myself this responsibility. But actually, these thoughts, they are really on my way. This is a material, this is such literature which helps you and after you understand, you see alive people. I don't think about that. When you come to the stage, on the stage, there appears to be an absolutely different story. There is no any competition. We are not competing with the previous actors. We are not afraid of making worse or whatever. So this feeling of coincidence for resemblance. I didn't watch. Well, of course, I watched this movie, but I didn't try to watch it again and again. I didn't try to watch it again. But did you see this performance in the theater? Did you see another theater versions? I'm not going to be a judge here. I saw, of course, other productions in the theater, but these were different productions and different psychophysical work. I do not think about other productions. It's easy and better for me to start from scratch, to start from zero level. There are fragments of the idiot performance from the big drama theater. This is very good that the fragments of the old productions survived and we can learn from them. But anyway, you have to understand that the video coverage doesn't cover everything. Well, I saw your performance when it was just very fresh. And after I've seen it now on video, I really enriched myself, because in the whole you see in general the whole plan, but when you watch it through the video recording, it's really very interesting because of the close-ups. The question, Alexander Krючкова asks, why the audience comes to the theater to watch Ostrovsky's plays. This is very interesting. This is a very interesting question. I love Ostrovsky. Well, I used to teach this actors Ostrovsky. Yeah. So how would we answer? I think most possibly because it might sound strange. These plays are still alive. For an actor and for director, these plays, they are rich with characters, with ideas, with fantasies, because all these situations, they happen, they keep happening today. It might seem that they are far from the modern life, though the story happened in the 19th century, but still it is very, very modern. All their characters and prototypes are very modern. I want to add that it seems to me that Ostrovsky, this is our drama screenwriter is ours, and we've got plenty of him. He is 100% Russian screenwriter, playwright. So maybe Masha will continue. Oh, there is a question. Will you please tell us your name? From the second course of the University of Performing Arts. Well, usually they ask you, how do you prepare yourself for the role? But my question is, do you go yourself to the theater? Do you watch other productions, other performances? And what is your favorite one? Well, it's difficult to answer what is my favorite. I love theater. I do go to the theater. Do you have any other favorite theater after your workshop in this city? Well, I love the Badite Theatre. My husband works there. I spent summer in Moscow and I watched in Vakhtangov Theatre, I watched Onegin and I was under a big impression. I loved this performance very much, and they are going to come to hear. They wanted to bring war and peace, and I wanted to have war and peace. No, they're not going to bring it due to technical issues. We just remind you that we're live. Well, as for the theater impressions, talking about St. Petersburg, the last thing which really impressed me, that was the performance of the old school. I even thought that I wanted to play one of the roles over there. These were actors from Katzman course, and it was really on the small stage. Whether you happen to watch other actors and just get impressed and say, I can do the same. Does it happen? It's always like this. I was among the audience, and when they were on the swings, I really liked the production of 2 minutes. Well, you can find the performance Onegin from Vakhtangov Theatre. You can find it in the network and in the social network. I remind you that we've got gifts prepared for those who is going to be very active and will ask the best question. Maxim, what about other theaters? Does it happen with you? Can you manage to go? Do you go to the theaters and do you watch other productions and performances? Well, yes, I do go, but not very often. I didn't manage to see everything in my theater. It requires time because the repertoire is really very long. We've got many performances. I can recommend many performances to watch to our audience. These are different performances of different genre, of different directors. Directors who work with us, they are not afraid of experimenting. Grigory Mikhailovich, our director, keeps to traditional school of our theater, which we really pressure and love, and this is what we stand for. I love to go to the theaters, like Mariinsky, opera and ballet. Really striking performances which you can borrow from these performances, emotions, feelings, just the way people, actors, after the ballet, they go to the stage, to the front of the stage for the bow, and this is really a striking emotional energy, and I do want to keep this energy. I borrow the energy from other actors. This is part of our occupation, to go to different theaters and watch performances. I'm not going to talk about tastes, because theater is really in some way is a matter of taste, because some people like performances, other people do not like these performances. But even sometimes when I look at my colleagues, I think that, well, I cannot play like this, because all of us are so different. We do not compete with each other. And every time when I realize that I won't be able to play the same way as my colleagues do, I understand that this is because they are different. Like, for example, Duke Myshkin, whom I play in our theater. We originally had three groups, three casts of actors. Igor Shumeyko, who played together with me. We just had three different versions of this performance, and that was really very interesting because we were different and the performances were different. Yevgeny Perivalov, who now plays in the company of MHT, and for a long time he kept to return to our theater and play. So you do watch other performances? Yes, of course. The question comes from the audience.
Яблочкина
asks the question, what is your, Maxim, favorite role in your theater?
Театральная фамилия Яблочкина спрашивает про вашу любимую роль.
Я понял. Да, спасибо за вопрос.
Это
сложный момент, потому что
все-таки
образы,
the images which we have been working over, really you fall in love with these images, because without love nothing comes to life. So this is a tricky question, because if now I could tell you that I underline or specifically some role, I might offend some of my characters. You know, I love everybody, all my characters. Polina, what about you? Do you go? Maybe you've got relatives who you love to see. Well, among those performances which I remember is Forest of Grigory Kozlov. The performance Forest. This is a color of Ostrovsky and the pain of the character. So really impressed me very much. Then Tuminas, Yevgeny Onegin. I watched a recorded version, and I was under the impression of such a decision. Then Victor Kramer, whose performances I saw in the Baltic House. This is Stepanchikovo village, which I remember. Hamlet. Вахляки. And also these performances, I saw the performance of Robert Sturo, the Caucasus circuit, and all these emotions, they managed to translate to me. When I was a schoolgirl, we went to Shakespeare's festival, and I played Ophelia, and over there we went to Spain, and over there I saw a performance of Korshunov with Romeo and Julia, and I remember how they made the death of Merkutsu when he was reading his monologue, and then he took some flour and put it on his face and showed and played death. And also Romeo and Julia of Grigory Mikhailovich. That was great. Are there questions here in our audience? Hello, my name is Claudia Reder. I study theater science. My question is that between the monologues and replicas of Ostrovsky, you've got lots of intermedia. How do you do that? I was also in the studio, and I also played in Shakespeare. I played in pieces there in the ball, and also Juliet.
Какие неожиданные встречи у нас на фестивале происходят. Да, хороший вопрос. Так.
Так скорее к Максиму.
Кто скажет?
Мастер импровизации.
Мастер импровизации у нас Максим.
Maxim is the master of improvisation.
Максим, ты подумаешь 30 секунд. Да, вот хороший вопрос, потому что я сегодня
This
обратил
is a
внимание,
good
что
question.
я вспомнил
Today
разные
I
женитьбы
paid
Бальзаминова, которые я
attention
видел в жизни,
that
да,
I
там по десятку,
remember
наверное,
different
наберется. И я понял,
Balzaminovs,
что ваша
and
женитьба
now I
Бальзаминова самая
understand that
длинная.
yours is the longest.
Самую короткую женитьбу
The
Бальзаминова шла
shortest
45 минут, которую
was
я видел.
45
Это
minutes,
самый длинный
and this
спектакль. А
is
теперь
the
отвечайте
longest
за
performance.
это.
Я, знаете, я так отвечу, я даже
I can answer.
сейчас мне трудно
You know,
сообразить,
it's difficult for me
что
to
у нас там осталось Островского, а что
remember
то, что, как вы
even
говорите,
what
наслоение собственного.
what is
Потому
from
что это как-то
Ostrovsky,
слилось уже
what is
воедино, мне даже кажется,
ours.
там, наверное, так написано все было. Но спектакль, на самом деле, очень много лет. Нет,
Of course,
действительно, есть
this
некоторые моменты
performance
для
is
импровизации. то
pretty
есть,
old
скажем
already.
так,
There is
мы
lots of
определяем
there are
некоторые точки, но
lots
вот
of
эти апарты
improvisations
и
there.
возможность разговора с залом
The
фактически закреплены
possibility to
Островским в
talk
пьесе.
to the audience,
И обращение к зрителю
this comes
подразумевается
from
в этой пьесе.
Ostrovsky. He
Поэтому мы
marked, he
открыли
noted these things.
Америку, да,
So
мы
we didn't
совершенно
discover
не изобретали там
America,
ничего нового,
we
потому
didn't
что
invent
это, в
anything,
общем-то,
because this is
стиль, который
actually
нам
the style
подарил
that
Островский.
Ostrovsky
Просто
gave
мы,
us.
наверное,
Just
постарались это
we
как-то,
tried to
ну, немного подняли, может быть, градус, я не знаю, градус вот именно вот этого общения
make it higher.
со зрителем. Возможно, некоторые вещи
The
родились, потому что,
degree of the
опять же,
of
вот
contact with the audience,
мой Бальзаминов,
this
да,
current
тот Бальзаминов, над которым мы с
to
Игорем Михайловичем работали,
which connects
есть некое
the audience and the stage.
наверное, за все-таки детскостью,
because you know
за ребенком, и поэтому
some
некоторые вещи я приносил даже вот из наблюдений
infancy
собственным сыном.
episodes I
Какие-то
brought
вещи
from
абсолютно
my
на самом деле
from
очень
what
много,
I saw
вообще, в
in my
принципе, очень
family
много
when
всего
watching
в
my
театр и на сцену можно принести из
kid.
жизни, из наблюдений.
Of
А за
course,
детьми
we
особенно, потому что
observe,
дети,
we
они
have
Немножко от детей, немножко от
observations,
Гоголя записано
we
сумасшедшего.
bring things from children which we
Максим, а
observe
вот
in
такой
life.
вопрос. А вот вы же все-таки играете уже эту роль
But
14
you
лет,
are
как мы тут
already
выяснили, да?
playing
Вы
this
начали
for
его играть совсем
14
молодым
years.
человеком. А
When
сейчас
you
вы у нас
started
дядя
playing
тоже,
it,
как бы,
you
получается, по
were
возрасту,
just
да?
very
Вы
young.
изменились.
Now you
Ваш
are a
Бальзаминов
very
изменился
adult,
за эти
mature
годы?
man.
Я думаю,
If
да.
your
Я думаю,
Balzaminov
да, но
changed
это бы
within
скорее
these
сказал
years,
зритель, который мог
yes, of course,
посмотреть
but
первый
this
спектакль
would be possible to say
сцене
only for the
еще
audience who
учебного
saw
театра
me
и
when
спектакли,
I
которые сейчас
just
идут, конечно, сам,
entered
по моим
this
ощущениям,
performance
вообще сам
when I
спектакль, он
was a student.
такой организм
But
живой.
you
На
know,
самом
this
деле, вот
performance
вы
is a
видели запись,
really
да, вот
alive
есть, кажется, что
body,
это вот так
alive
всегда. На самом деле
organism,
он очень
and
разный.
this is
Спектакль
how
абсолютно разный.
it happens.
И даже был период, вот он называется «Грезы любви».
There was a
«Женитьба
period when
Бальзаминова».
we called
Это
it
очень важное
Love
название,
Dreams
потому что
and Marriage of
иногда
Balzaminov.
наши
The name is very
спектакли
important because sometimes
«Грезы любви», а иногда
love
всё-таки
dreams
«Женитьба
prevail,
Бальзаминова».
and
Как мне
sometimes
кажется, мы
it's the
стремимся
Marriage of
к
Balzaminov,
грезам в
because
каком-то смысле,
we
всё-таки более
actually
таким лирическим,
drive
да. Да,
towards
возникает, конечно,
towards
смех по
love
поводу,
dreams. Of course, we
потому что,
laugh about
наверное,
it,
вещи
and we
узнаваемые
hear love,
всегда вызывают смех
people
у
laughing,
зрителя.
because many
Мне кажется, что он очень
aspects are
разный. И, конечно, он
recognizable.
изменился, он вырос.
Of
И
course,
состав
the
у нас там
performance
немного
gets
изменился.
changing.
Конечно. Но я хочу, как тот самый
The
зритель, который, о
cast
котором
has
вы говорили,
changed.
который в студенчестве
Вот.
видел и позже,
Да,
я
это
хочу
главное.
I
сказать,
am
что, конечно,
the
изменился. Потому что, когда я ходил в
audience
студенческий
which
спектакль, у меня
who
про
can
Достоевского мысли
judge
не возникало в голове.
those
Вообще
changes
не про
that
Гоголя.
happened. When
А
I
сейчас, когда я
watched
смотрел видео, я подумал,
Dostoevsky
что там, да,
performed by
какие-то
you,
уже,
I
вообще
didn't
таким за пределами,
notice any changes, but in this performance, I really see that things change in your manner of acting. So we've got questions coming from the audience.
Вопрос зрителя.
Погасьян интересуется. Роль, мечта каждого из актеров.
What is a
И еще
dreaming
Елена
role
Марголина
of each of
спрашивает,
you?
могут ли актеры
And
смотреть спектакли как
whether
зрители?
actors
Способны ли
can
отрешиться
watch
от своего
performances as
профессионального
the
фильтра
audience?
флюса?
Can
Давайте с вас начнем.
are
У вас
actors
есть какая-то,
able to be
вот мы,
just
да, всем нашим
audience,
гостям и на прошлом фестивале,
not
и
to
вчера,
be
может,
connected with
спрашиваем,
your
какая редкая
occupation?
возможность актерам все-таки про свою мечту сказать, а я ведь так считаю, что если где-то
I
сказал,
think this is a very rare opportunity for actors to share with us your opinion. What would you like to play? Well, I don't have a role like this. I've never been thinking about that, never even flirting with this idea, what role I would love to play on the stage. I am happy as the actress. I had played nearly everything, and I'm open for everything. Because we can play anything. We just require fantasy and emotions. Maxim, what about you? What role you are dreaming about? Well, it is not difficult for me to dream. I do have dreams, and I do have roles in my mind which I would like to try. Maybe those things which you haven't ever tried before on set, on stage. And I've got many ideas, and maybe those things which 5 years ago didn't look like possible roles for me, and I didn't have the right even to think about them. No, now I can think about that. We've got many things in our plan. We think about many interesting things. This is a peculiarity of our theater, that we can collect people in one group and show and give a hint to the audience. And for example, like Marriage by Gogol, with which is a very interesting and deep thing. Подколесин, to play Подколесин. I would love to play Подколесин. So, for a long time already, I've been thinking that it would be interesting. The Golovlev's family, I would love to show Iudushka. Of course, after Myshkin, there should come Iudushka. Yes, Polina is also dreaming about something. Maxim has already mentioned about Marriage of Gogol. Yes. Agafia Tikhonovna. Yes, but you know, if we speak about dreams, what stands behind these dreams? The fly of a dream, the flight of a dream. What about Svetlana Kryuchkova? Isn't she going to be on your way? No, she only helps. Previously played roles by other actors only help us. What happens during the performance? What are the things that happen during the performance and the audience which remain to be unnotable for the audience, and the audience do not see? Well, constantly we always have things going on. Well, some people forget the text, forget lines. There might be a curtain not moving. You know, this is an alive thing. Well, once we played Idiot performance, and there was, I remember, two funny things. One happened to me when we had the first scene with Myshkin. I play one of the sisters, and we were together with him at the stage about 50 minutes. And monologues of Myshkin, they are very long. At the beginning, we have a dance, sisters prepare a surprise for their parents. I sit, and my skirt got torn. What shall I do? I had 50 minutes more to stay on the stage. Girls around actors started to laugh, and then Alena, another actress. We saw her today. So she crawled up to me from behind, and she really started to fix it with the needle and the thread, and Grigory Mikhailovich saw all that. And Nastasia Filipovna, once there was also a situation with the skirt. The skirt got torn. Well, things like that do happen.
Еще вопросик у нас от зрителей. Да, пожалуйста.
Another question?
Микрофон.
Галина Иванова интересуется.
Galina Ivanova
Какие
is
наиболее
interested.
запоминающиеся моменты происходили во время подготовки спектакля?
What are the most
Видимо, речь идет про женитьбу.
the strongest moments which you remember happened while you worked on the performance? I want just to remind you, I try to get you immersed in the time when you were the students of the fourth course, to remind you about that time when you started to work on this performance. I want to specify, when you start working on the role, how do you prepare yourself? Do you read? Is there anything that you read on purposely for that? Or how do you prepare yourself to the role? Just behind the director's tasks.
Вот, кстати, это еще захватит предыдущий вопрос. Почему у нас такие длинные спектакли? Есть и Хидон 7 часов.
Well, we've got long performances like Tihidon or Myshkin. Well, because this is the sketches. This is the way the actor works. We make sketches. We think about that. You come to your director and you show what you have come up with when thinking about that. And Grigory Mikhailovich says, that's great, or it's not great. And when you have it, when you turn it into a sketch with music, with monologue, with description, so all this happens in the performance. So our sketches are our performances are based on our sketches. Well, I remember the performance Tartuffe made by Kozlov as well. Our rehearsals were very interesting. Well, we studied a little bit French language in order to be able to sing songs. We spoke about traitorry, we spoke about Tartuffe, what stands behind Tartuffe, what kind of image it is. Together with Maxim, we have the scene over there. And I remember Grigory Mikhailovich shared with us his experience about his first love. And he said, when I danced with her, that was the music that we had. So things like that, they inspire us. And what Masha said, this is a combination between material and our personal impressions and what our director shares with us. What about your musical preferences? Do you have musical preferences?
У меня есть. Я сам композитор.
I also compose music.
Я пишу музыку для
I
спектаклей,
write
для кино.
music for movies, for theaters, and I write music even for some series which is going to come out very soon. My musical preferences are great. I've got many of those. I know very well the classical music. I like music, to listen to music. It's difficult for me to specify something separate, but according to my mood, my spirit, when we worked over the performance, we kept listening to French music of 50s and 60s. Many hours of music, and we were looking for the melody, the only melody which we needed. You know, when working over the performance, this is always different. There is no any steady method, because when we worked over Tartuffe,
Григория Михайловича Козлова «Тартюф». Он идет в нашем театре. Вот мы работали абсолютно как-то по-новому.
This is a great performance. We kept reading the text in his cabinet. These were not sketches as you usually were taught, and we did that performance in a different way. We were just reading the text, and then out of this reading appeared a very beautiful performance. I believe that this is a very beautiful work. So I'm really surprised how this performance was born just in the cabinet of our director. So this French text, which we heard coming from the stage, when we really pronounce our monologues in French. So when I've been working over Tartuffe, my favorite music was French. Maxim Studinovsky, actor and composer. This is how we can introduce you. Yes.
Вопрос от Анастасии Кузьминой.
The
Зачем
question
был сделан
from
этот спектакль и что
Why
это за
did you make this
высказывание?
performance,
Еще один
and
вопрос
what
от
kind of
Ларисы
saying
Погосян.
is this?
У каждого
And
из вас в
another
театре
question is,
есть
each,
суеверие?
do you have superstitious feelings, superstitions in your performance? Why? Why? What did you want to say?
Тут, наверное, если вопрос, тут сложно вычленить, да, с какой подоплекой вопрос задан.
To separate things.
Да, это зачем вообще вы сделали этот
судя по
спектакль?
интонации,
Или
да,
все-таки
что-то не
зачем
поняла,
этот
наверное.
спектакль? Ну, как немножко разный ответ
Но
напрашивается.
мы знаем ответ Григория Михайловича.
Well, we know the answer of our director.
В параллель репетировалась одна группа у нас репетировала.
We had different groups. One group was rehearsing Balzaminov, and another group was rehearsing the older son. In older son, our director saw his father, and Marriage of Balzaminov, this is a dedication to his mother. And he noticed that we started to invent things, and he said, our director told us, please, will you perform tonight Love Dreams? So we've got Chopin music, and we've got the merchant music.
Вот, собственно, наверное, я ответила.
Ну да, я с Гришей, с Григорием Михайловичем, естественно, тоже разговаривал, и он мне тоже говорил, что это
I spoke to your director, and he also told me that he dedicated this performance to his mother. And this is really the role of a mother is very special over there. And there was a question about superstition. Well, people believe that actors are very superstitious. If the role drops, we all sit on it. And suppose someone make jokes, if you make angry jokes about the performance stage, then the stage really pays back. Yeah, there are superstitious things. We also have a proverb that the mistake is the God's blessing. If you haven't tried, if you haven't checked anything before coming out to the stage, then this stage will help you to survive on the stage. There was a case then when for 10 years our director keeps saying a mistake is not a bad thing, because mistake is the God's blessing. There was a thing with a bottle of champagne, and the when director asked him why you didn't check on the cork of the bottle, otherwise it wouldn't shoot in your eye. And the actor said, well, mistake is the God's blessing. Our theater is our home. It's not formal, it's very alive. Another
Елена
question.
Корманова хочет узнать, как настраиваетесь перед выходом на сцену? Есть ли
Do you tune yourself before you go to the stage? Do you feel trembling feelings?
Много разных техник.
Well, there are many different technical
сконцентрироваться.
exercises that help you to concentrate. If you don't have if you do not feel that you are ready to play, there are different exercises but for every separate role you have.
Вот опять же это про суеверие. Хочешь не хочешь.
You know, it's very superstitious.
Сколько я не боролся с собой, что я не суеверный человек.
Well, I many times used to tell myself that I'm not superstitious, and I gave word to myself every time that I do not care about things, but still I catch myself thinking that yes, I am superstitious. I am superstitious because this is an energy. There is an energy on the stage, and it is very special energy. I have to be very careful when tuning for the performance. I can bring you an example of Prince Myshkin, Duke Myshkin. I know this text very well. I know it by heart. But I know that if I once, at least once, do not read completely this text on the eve, I will definitely, maybe not, but I never checked, but I have a feeling. I have a feeling that no, I cannot go to the stage without trying my text over and over again if I remember it by heart. Because when I immerse to the role, I need a day before the role in order to adjust myself for this. There are performances when I can collect myself quicker, just jump into the car and get to the theater. Are there questions in the hall here? I'm from the second course of acting. What about the super task? How do you change it? What about the super task which you have, depending on the production? It seems to me that the question refers to the internal growth. What about the super task? It may change if you grow with the role. Of course, we always agree between the actors. We have to agree about everything while we're on the coast, on the bank. We can come up to the final of the performance by different ways, but we all have to come to the same final, which we agreed about at the very beginning, because the final scene of the performance and the super task is really a strong thing. We do not try to change, though, the director's idea. You saw Dostoevsky and Balzaminov some time ago, and now, so the performance has grown up to this level. Grigory Mikhailovich, at that time when we were students and we were too young, so maybe at that time we didn't understand some things, but now we do understand and we got mature, we grew mature, and that's why, of course, today were different people playing the same performance. And every time we find new things to talk about, to show. I've got the whole page of my questions to. So our audience was so active that I still. So whose question was seemed to be the most interesting for you? Who gets the gift? Who from the audience wins the prize? So you have to decide. You have 20 seconds. Well, the audience understands that we are discussing, actually our guest discussing, and the winner is the question about...
На самом деле было много хороших вопросов.
Well, there were many good questions. It's difficult to choose one.
Выбор — это выбор. Как с браком.
Ну, раз вы меня спрашиваете, и девушки
Well, since you asked me,
меня свалить, да, вот это
and they elected me to pick up the question.
Построены домой. Мне понравился вопрос.
I like the question about music.
Вопрос про музыку. Итак, это первый. Анастасия Черепанова у нас сегодня получает.
Анастасия Черепанова gets a gift.
Он по делу был задан, как выяснилось в итоге, понимаете? Да, вот и что мы имеем возможность еще, видимо, один, да, приз вручить, как я понимаю.
So, as far as I understand, we can give another gift.
Кто в зале? Ну,
then
так, в зале у нас
another
были, вот девушки у нас тут перед
best
нами
question
сидят.
among the audience, coming from the audience.
Скажите, Полина, но только из тех, кто в зале.
Да.
Давайте.
Мне вот понравился вопрос
I like the question about improvisation, about the text of the author,
Я с вами абсолютно
and I
согласен.
absolutely agree with you.
Мы вручаем или вручим подарок вам. Как вас зовут, еще раз напомните? Клавдия с таким замечательным именем. Девушка у нас сегодня получает подарок. Спасибо, молодец, поздравляю.
Gets the performance, gets the gift.
Я напоминаю вам, что завтра в
Dear friends, I remind you that tomorrow we are going to speak about the search of your own theatre for the audience. We are going to speak about, we will continue talking about theatre. What does it mean for the audience and for the theatre? And then I invite you to watch another performance of the King Lear by Shakespeare, made by director Ehrenburg. And then we will meet at 10 o'clock in the evening in order to speak and have a conversation. The creators of the performance, and now on behalf of the festival, I want to give you this diploma to our guests. So we wish you all the best success, to have new performances. Your theater is one of the most favorite companies, drama companies in our city.